Hello, my astrology friends. We continue with the 2025 astrology marathon, and today my guest is evolutionary astrologer Mila. Hello, Mila.
Hi, Lada. It's nice to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for offering to our viewers for the next few weeks 25% discount on your readings. If anyone feels connected energetically to Mila, you can order. I'll put the link below in the description. This is the first time you're all offering this to our viewers, so I'm very excited. Thank you for this. And Mila is an evolutionary astrologer and she is also a channeler. As you can see, a lot of the information is channeled. And Mila today is talking about one very big event, the change of the nodes from Aries, the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. They're moving from the beginning of 2025 into Pisces because they move backwards, and into Virgo, South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces. And this happens only once every 18 months. So 1.5 year, they will be there now in Pisces and in Virgo. So Mila, you lead us through the evolutionary impact this will have on us collectively, individually. I don't know if you prepared for the 12 signs, anything.
I have so many notes, but I would like to first we go into the logical brain. So I want to show people charts, and I have whole page of the aspects that's going to be taking place. So we'll be here all day, but I'm just going to pick few main ones. So we go to the logical brain first, and I'm going to then go into my intuitive brain, and I'm going to tell people what I feel this means for us, because I know some people, they want to see the facts and let's see the charts and what is the what are the degrees and stuff, and then I would like to give my interpretation of what I feel these nodes in Pisces Virgo mean for us and our evolutionary path as humanity.
Perfect.
All right,
You have
so
12 signs after that, or
I'm not sure if we have time, Lada, but we can see.
so
We can
much?
see.
We have so much to cover.
We have a lot to cover. Okay, so this is, I'm going to go to the chart. So this is the day when the nodes are going to shift. On January 11th, 2025, we are entering into the year number 9, which in essence represents Hermit card in Tarot, which is the Virgo card. And it's all about culmination and ending. And this is quite auspicious day because it's the 11-1, which is a mass number frequency number 11. 1 is all about beginnings, it's the magician. 11 is also in Tarot is the, depending which kind of tarot you use, but in most cases, it would be the justice, which is all about balancing the scales. And that's where the South Node has been for the past year and a half in the sign of Libra, which is all about neutralization through seeing the contrast, through seeing where we are out of whack, where we are out of balance. And just to remind everyone, the nodes entered the Libra Aries axis right after the new moon in Cancer, which took place on July 17th, 2023. We can see the landscape at the time was very different, and Pluto was squaring the nodes. Resolution was the South Node, which few hours after this became in Libra. It moved into Libra. At this stage, at the full moon in Cancer, it was still on 0 degrees of Taurus. And why am I mentioning this is because right after the nodes move into the sign of Pisces Virgo, we are going to be experiencing full moon in Cancer. Year and a half later, not the one that we had the full moon of that new moon when they shift, that was last year, but this is also a first lunation of 2025, which is again very significant because we can see Mars by this stage is already back in Cancer. When we record in this, Mars is preparing for his retrograde, which is, I think, literally happening now as we speak. Mars is stationed in retrograde in the sign of Leo and will ingress back into the sign of Cancer at the beginning of January. So by the time the nodes shift, Mars is already in a sign of Cancer. And this is actually quite important because Mars, at the time of the full moon, and actually even during the time of this ingress, Mars will be trining the node. Well, we'll be trining the North Node, sextile in the South Node. So this is supportive aspect. Why is Cancer so important? Because Cancer is our sense of identity, is who we are. It's obviously our roots, our ancestors, our home, our sense of safety and security. And currently, especially now with Pluto being in a sign of Aquarius, Pluto and Mars are going to have an opposition for on and off almost 6 months. And a lot of us are experiencing in a sense, like metamorphosis. I know this is happening for me, but I have other reasons for it as well. But I know from interacting with people, clients and stuff, many people are going through this. Many people are questioning, especially now while we're recording this, still Mercury, Jupiter retrograde in opposition with one another. And this is making us to question things, reevaluate things, look at things in a different way, because now Mars is in the Pluto is in a sign of Aquarius and is there to stay for the next 2 decades. Pluto is now done with Capricorn. Capricorn is in opposition with Cancer, and these two signs are important because the nodes are moving into Virgo and Pisces. It's the same elements: Capricorn, Cancer, water, earth. So this is supportive aspects for them, and this is all about us changing. The earth is our human experience. It's us that walk the earth, but we are not of this earth. We just here for limited amount of time, and then we go back to spirit. And the spirit is the intuition, the water signs. They are like, you know, the intuition, the spirit realm and stuff like that. So currently Pluto being in a sign of Aquarius, we're not going back. So the sense of safety and security that was built by the Piscean age, this is all dissolving. Saturn is in the sign of Pisces. That's it. Saturn is moving to the sign of Aries. When we look at when the nodes are actually going to move again, which will be, I believe, July, right? July 26. Yes, July 26, 2026. The nodes are going to go from Virgo, Pisces into Aquarius and Leo. And by this point, we have Saturn, Neptune in the sign of Aries. We're going to have the back and forth dance in 2025. And also Uranus is in Gemini. At the time, it will be actually square in the nodes, exact, pointing to the North Node. And Chiron is in the sign of Taurus. So this is, again, very different landscape. So going from here to that, we need to go through a lot of things. And Pluto is pushing us. It's pushing us because it's technically saying that who we are right now and the kind of reality we created for ourselves that made us feel safe and secure is no longer in alignment with where we're going. Because with all this masculine sign, we're going to have this, you know, Saturn, Neptune in Aries, which is masculine sign. We're going to have Gemini, Uranus, which is a masculine sign. Chiron is going to be in Taurus. So that's going to bring out all the insecurity why we don't trust ourselves, which people with Pluto Libra generation are very familiar with, because most of them have Chiron in a sign of Taurus. But again, going back to these nodes, and what does this mean? With the South Node moving into the sign of Virgo, being ruled by Mercury, this is going to be continuously changing what we're working on, because Mercury is the fastest moving apart from Moon, and Mercury goes retrograde, I think, about 4 times a year. So most people get upset with Mercury going retrograde because of the technological mishaps that happen. But Mercury going retrograde is very important for our evolution because it forces us to constantly transform, to constantly go over things, look at things again, reevaluate, reinvent, rewrite, redo, all these re's, because most of the time we are on autopilot. So we don't stop and think about things. So Mercury becoming the rule of the South Node, we are going to continuously looking at different aspects of our lives that we know that needs to change because they are no longer in alignment with where we're going. And we're going to be working through that. And Mercury is going to be conjuncting North Node 3 times because of the retrograde. On first time will be on March 1st, then on April 4th when it's the retrograde, and then again on April the 10th. Also, Venus is going to be conjuncting the North Node 3 times because of Venus's upcoming retrograde in March. And Mars has been trining the North Node 3 times, twice already from the sign of Leo, and there will be one more from the sign of Cancer when Mars goes back into Cancer, which, like I'm pointing out, is already active here. So all these personal planets are supporting us in this evolutionary pathway. And what is this about? Why are nodes so important in Virgo Pisces while we have back and forth dance between Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus going from feminine to masculine sign? Because this is our opportunity to change. This is our opportunity to change, because with Pluto being in a sign of Aquarius, not going back to Capricorn, we are going ahead. That's it. Evolution is going ahead. Aquarius is all about breaking free from the outdated pattern, going beyond everywhere we've been before. Uranus is being retrograde still currently until the end of January. So this is accelerating us. It's taking us inwards, like, okay, you know, like, let's look at my life. Let's look at my, you know, sense of foundation, sense of who I am, and all the rest of it. We can see at the time time when the nodes are shifting. Uranus is actually still trining Pluto, is trining the Sun, at the time being in Capricorn on a final decan, which is actually Virgo decan. So this is all about learning and adjusting. So for the upcoming year and a half, the main topic of what we actually working on is what needs to change in my life. It's going to be step-by-step process, because Virgo is about step-by-step process. It's learning and adjusting, making mistake, trying again, okay, fine-tuning it, figuring it out, because we are completely changing the evolutionary pathway we are completely changing who we are as a humanity. Everything is going to change. So it's like kind of like we are in a complete unknown, which is something that we had the opportunity to get used to while this North Node was in the sign of Aries, the path of self-discovery, that I don't really know anything anymore. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I believe. I don't know what I value. I don't know anything. I don't even know myself anymore. And this is what Mars is helping us to actually work on with this retrograde back to Cancer, from Leo back to Cancer, and then forward and then back to Leo in April 17th. Because most of us are living lives that are not even ours. We are living lives that are projection of the society, expectations of the society, very strongly influenced by the cultural, religious conditioning program of the matrix. So Mars going retrograde and being in sign of Cancer for such a long time, and then Leo, it's going to make us go over all of that. Is that really who I am? And why should I continue being this person if maybe it doesn't feel right? It doesn't feel good. It no longer aligns, because with this Leo and, preparing for the node going into Leo in 2026, it's all about what is actually my purpose. And that's probably what a lot of people are asking themselves these days. Like, okay, with the world kind of falling apart, all these things happening that we don't really have much control over on the big political scheme and stuff. It's like, okay, well, what's the point of everything, right? Like, what's the point of my life? What are we here to do and stuff? And more, especially with these energies, and now with North Node going into the sign of Pisces in a year of Hermit, we'll be seeking the answers inwards. And also with Jupiter, at the time of when the nodes are changing signs, Jupiter is like quite busy here making the squares to Venus and Saturn. Actually, Jupiter-Saturn, they had triple square because they already had one on the full moon in Aquarius, August 19th. The second one, I think, is on the Christmas day. And then there is one more exact one when Jupiter is already in a sign of Cancer, Saturn in a sign of Aries. I believe it's on June. I think it's in June. So anyway, all that said, this is a first quarter square, which is about crisis in action. So what's really going on here, and also Jupiter is the traditional rule of Pisces. So that's why we're paying attention to Jupiter. Mercury is the rule of the South Node. Well, it will be becoming the rule of the South Node. And Neptune will be the modern ruler, the one we work with in evolutionary astrology. And Neptune and North Node are going to have a conjunction on February 7th, which is actually only 3 days after Jupiter stations direct. Jupiter will be the last planet that stations direct. Even Uranus is stationing direct before Jupiter. So this is, again, very significant. It's happening right before this conjunction. So at the time when Jupiter stations direct as the traditional rule of the North Node in February, the North Node will be still in a closing phase with Neptune. And then they're going to have a conjunction, so something's going to reset. And this is creating an energetical imprint, which is saying that the way forward is through seeking the truth within, and you decide what it is. And this is where we're going into a whole new game, whole new ball game, which is something that I've been playing with recently in my own life, which I'm happy to share. I already shared it, on my channel, quantum field. And this is what more and more people are tapping into, because Pluto in Aquarius, we are getting ready for Uranus moving into the sign of Gemini. We are not going to change the reality we are experiencing at the moment, not the world you are experiencing at the moment, and unless we create it from a different level of consciousness to the one that this reality was created, which is all about this quantum field. We need to go beyond. How are we going to do it? Well, we're not going to do it by waiting for it to happen out there first and then I believe it. No, it's the other way around. It's all going with the South Node in Libra. Literally, the world has been turned upside down. but it actually it's been straightened. This is the justice, right? The number 11, the 11th of January. This is the justice. We are turning things upside down, and throughout these transits of the nodes Virgo Pisces in the next year and a half until July 2026, we'll be learning what that means in practice. This no, I'm not going to go out there and ask someone else, hey, what should I do with my life? But I'm going to tune in and seek the answers within me. And this is going to completely change our life completely. Because currently people that are in charge of this matrix, they know how these things work. And they work only because we don't know, and we don't use them. We don't use these tools. So that's why they can manipulate the energy, because we are not aware that we are being unconscious. We are unconsciously complying. We are unconsciously co-creating the reality we don't want to be experiencing, because we don't understand how these things work. So this is how in the next year and a half, with these nodes being in Virgo Pisces, we are going to learn. We are going to learn, because Virgo, this is the school of life. Virgo is the hero's journey. The human's journey is the school of life. This is what we came here to do. And with the North Node in Pisces, it's all about reconnection with the spirit. Mars was actually in the sign of Virgo when the nodes shifted. I mean, okay, this is the chart of the new moon in Cancer, and the node shifted a few hours later, but you can see Mars was in the sign of Virgo. Venus was just preparing for her retrograde, also in a sign of Leo at the time, which is exactly what Mars is doing now. And Venus is current rule of the South Node. Mars is the current rule of the North Node at the time when I'm recording this with Lada. So this is significant, because it's saying, okay, that we were accumulating information over the year and a half until now, January 2025, that were showing us, that were giving us data with regards to, okay, what needs to change. So now fast forward, January 2025, whatever, December 2024, and you can see the state of your reality, personal life, and you can see the state of the world, and you tune into how does that make you feel, because it doesn't even matter what your brain is saying, because your logical mind is just the archive of the past. It's in the past. The logical brain only knows what happened. It doesn't know what's going to happen, which is why it gets so upset and triggered and afraid of the unknown. So we all have to learn to tune in. Okay, how do I feel? Because the emotions is energy in motion. They are the messengers that are giving us the feedback with regards to what is going on. What is going on in my life? What is going on in my reality? And isn't that interesting that Mars is in a sign of Cancer retrograde? It's saying okay, apart from the fact that we are reevaluating, who am I? And what did I come here to do? What is my purpose? We are also reevaluating, how do I feel? Do I even know how I feel? Do I even know how to work with my emotions? Not to just push them away and go okay, my emotions don't exist, let's get busy. But it's okay, what is this trying to help me to understand? Because also with the Aquarian age, we just going to learn to be less emotional reactive. Doesn't mean we won't feel emotions, but they will be more balanced. It's not like us acting like toddlers, but us knowing how to balance how we feel. And this is how we're going to gain the complete control over our life. Because at the moment, we get manipulated easily because we are being reactive. And we are being reactive because we don't understand our own emotions. We don't understand ourselves. We don't know who we are. And we don't know what is this trying to help us to understand. So while the North Node is in a sign of Pisces, and especially post the conjunction with Neptune, there will be a flooding of everything that's unresolved. And this is kind of the bottom line of why this is happening, and why this is happening in preparation for the nodes ingressing into Aquarius and Leo. North Node in Aquarius is going to have a conjunction with Pluto, and also trine with Uranus as the ruler. And Uranus, Saturn, Neptune moving into masculine sign. That's the young energy. That's the energy that wants to go out there and create, to create in the fire sign, to create, co-create with the spirit. Because also, just a reminder to everyone, on the April 8th, when we had the solar eclipse in Aries this year, 2024, that was the first eclipse in a new phase conjunction with North Node that changed everything, because we are no longer to look backwards, we are to look forward. So this is about this new direction, new destination that we're heading towards as a humanity, which is co-creating with the spirit. Mars at the time was in Pisces, which is co-creating with your own higher self in a conscious way. And this is the preparation. Literally this next year and a half, things will be happening in the world. Very likely there will be things happening to do with water, because with the North Node in Pisces, there is a lot of flooding. However, energy always has to manifest in some way. So this is, again, when we learn how to work with the energy doesn't have to manifest that way. The energy can just manifest in a way that is energetical, which is that we allow ourselves to feel what we need to feel, and we allow this past to be resolved for once and all. Again, the 11 degrees. Why the 11 degrees? Because karma technically is energy that is stuck in time, cause and effect. That's all it is. Karma is not here to get to us and is to punish us. No, it's an energy that is polarized. It's an energy that is 2 minus or 2 plus, right? And we cannot stay in one or the other extreme for too long anyway, because it is detrimental to our system, which is why we see the state of the world the way it is at the moment. And not many people are enjoying it, because it's out of balance. So where we're trying to get to is the 0 point, because the 0 point is the void, is from which everything new is created, is the unlimited potential of the non-manifested energy of the universe, of the quantum field. Everything is possible. And this is also to do with the timelines, Jupiter being a sign of Gemini, also Mercury becoming the ruler of the South Node. You going to choose your own timeline. And this is what I mean. Like, yes, you can see the astrology, you can tune into, like, yeah, the numbers. I can tell you all the dates, like when things are happening. Most important thing to pay attention is Neptune conjunct in North Node, which is 7th of February, Saturn conjunct in North Node, 21st of April. And then there's going to be everything else under the sun happening. But the squares to the nodes while the planets are in Gemini, and then when the planets are in Sagittarius, so that's to pay attention to, because it's going to create the pressure for change. But the most important thing to pay attention to is actually what needs to change in your life, because it doesn't feel aligned, it doesn't feel that holds a meaning, and what do you need to feel in order to understand what is it. So so like literally, like, yes, we can look at the charts and we can try to understand the planets, but the energy is the same. It's not about logically understanding what's going on here and just trying to, like, oh yeah, new phase, closing phase, square, sextile, Neptune, whatever. Like, what is really going on here, that evolutionary as a humanity on this planet, we are moving from one era, Piscean age, to another era, Aquarian age, which are completely different. And we are going through the in-between. Right now, individually and collectively, we are going through the in-between, and we're trying to figure it out. It's kind of like recalibration. We know this is happening for us physically. Our DNA is changing, solar flares and all that. We are being cooked literally, by these higher frequencies to become someone different. We are, most of us, consciously or unconsciously, going on through the process of metamorphosis, who we were before is redundant. It's no longer working. It's not going to be in alignment, because most of us are not living an authentic life. Most people are living a life that is based on expectations of someone else, whether it's a person, whether it's a society, whether it's a culture, whether it's a religion. And again, this is not about blame, shame, or being angry about something, even though all of these emotions are valid, and if you need to feel them, you need to feel them to process them. However, this is also about understanding the meaning. Why everything that ever happened on this planet had to happen in order for us to be where we are. Because the source just wants to expand and experience the contrast. And this is the planet of polarity, where the best way and fastest way to learn is to experience the contrast. So with the South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces, we will be continue to experience a lot of contrast until we learn to work with the energy and balance it. And this is the South Node in Virgo, learning from our human journey experience. Virgo, the high vibration is discernment. Like, yeah, we've been here before, done that before, didn't work. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting different result, not gonna work. So, okay, what can we do then, right? And North Node being in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, and Saturn no longer being yes, traditionally Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. Yeah, we can say that. So yes, so Saturn is still connected to Pluto by traditional astrology rulership. However, it's no longer a Capricornian flavor. This is a flavor of endings, Pisces age, and beginnings, Aquarian age, because Uranus is now dominant ruler of Pluto based on the modern astrology. The traditional astrology didn't use Uranus just because they didn't know it existed. Uranus was only discovered in like what, 1800s or something, 1700, 18th century, because it was alongside with the US thing. So anyway, so that's what I mean, you know, like it doesn't mean that it wasn't relevant, we just weren't aware. Just like now, it doesn't mean that these laws, law of attraction, law of karma, law of this, law of that, universal laws, it doesn't mean that they, just because I don't know about them, they don't exist. They are fully in action, but we are becoming more and more aware of ourselves. We're becoming more and more aware of who we really are. So this energy is so big and vast that it's very difficult to put into language, into human words, because our language is very limited, which is why we no longer will be so much looking at the information outside of ourselves. But this is literally exactly the reason why we have to learn to tune in. Tune in, learn to calibrate to our own intuition, to our own guidance that's come from your own higher self that knows exactly what is the right thing for you, which is going to be different for different people, because this is the Leo, you know, this is the Mars going from Leo to Cancer back to Leo, and then the node moving into the sign of Leo. Who you thought your authentic expression was is going to change, because we are living in the universe that is continuously expanding and changing. And that's why even another aspect of the South Node in Virgo is going to be us letting go of this guilt and shame because of the need for perfection. That, oh, we need things to be perfect, we need to be things to be just so, because there's no such a thing. This universe is continuously changing and expanding, and there is a perfection of every present moment because it leads to the next moment. And it's always about information gathering that supports the next level of expansion. And with the North Node in Pisces, it's endless, because Pisces is everything there is. It's all that is. It's the source. So this next year and a half is extremely spiritual for us, also based on numerology. As I already mentioned, number 9 is the culmination of the cycles. Hermit going within, card of the Hermit. You can see the star in the old man's thingy, lamp. And the star is the Aquarius. It's where we go in, who we becoming. And the number 10, which is the year 2026, which is where everything is going to change, you know, the July 2026, very different landscape over here, you know, with all these changes. Also Jupiter being new phase conjunction with, again, Leo, Leo creation. So everything's going to change until then. And the year 2026, it's a reset point, because 10 in the tarot is a wheel of fortune representing Jupiter expansion. This is where Jupiter is at the moment, Gemini. We are choosing timelines. How do I want to expand? Where do I want to go? Not right and wrong. Mercury is neutral, right? Neutral planet. You decide. Not polarized. But with regards to the number 10, which is the year after, that will be the culmination of the nodes, that's the last decan, in a sense. It's all about the reset, you know, the 10, the endings that leads to new beginning, the 1 and the 0. The 0 is the 0 point, the unlimited potential, what it can be. The number 1, the magician. You are the magician. You are the creator. So this is what I mean. This is what we will be working on for the next year and a half, especially next year, the Hermit year. Next year, we're going to be recognizing, like, who, like, you know, it depends. How much attention do you want to pay to the external world? Because the external world is just your mirror. It's just the feedback. It's just the feedback mechanism to show us where we are at, where we vibrating, what we're dealing with, what we're working with. And, you know, it's the contrast, right? And everything is going to speed up, especially once Uranus goes into Gemini. The manifestation is going to become constant. But the ball of the game for the next year especially is to heal, release, let go of that which is preventing you to go into your own next level. Heal, to release that which is taking space in your life, to create space for this new energy to come in, which is going to take you somewhere you've never been before. And that's exciting, because you know where you were, and, you know, like, unless you're super happy with your life 100% in alignment right now, you probably want a lot of it to change, just like most people, probably 95% of population. And that takes inner work. It's not going to change on its own, because in order to get to Aquarius, we need to go through Capricorn, which is why this year we're having 4 lunations in the sign of Capricorn. Ending the year, beginning the year with the new moon in Capricorn, ending the year with the new moon in Capricorn, and 2 full moons in Capricorn in the middle of the year. Because this is all about taking responsibility for what is in my life. You know, yeah, I didn't create this, you know, necessarily, you know, the world was already this way when I was born, and a lot of these emotions, I just got plugged into matrix, and I feel it's not necessarily, you know, mine, for sure. But right now, this is what I'm dealing with, and nobody's going to change it for me, only me. And you will never feel empowered, and you will never feel that you can trust yourself unless you are the one that creates the change. And we know that because if you have children, if you try to do everything for your kid, it gets very frustrated. It gets to the point when it just go, no, me, because they want to feel proud of themselves. They want to feel like I can do it. I can do it. And this is a natural desire of the human to create and to step into self-empowerment and to see, okay, what else I can create. So this is the reality that we are birthing, the reality of authenticity, the reality of individual authentic expression, and the reality that is based on heart-centered consciousness and on this joy, and also the equality, you know, the Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, the grand air trine, which is about this flow of energy, you know, that always wants to expand and create different things. And the way we get in there now is through the Earth School lesson that is the next year, the South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces in the Hermit year, that we're going to be calibrating. What does this mean? And the more the world outside of us will become crazy, the more we will learn to seek the strength and the sense of, you know, power and authority within, because that's when you can tap into this quantum field and create the reality you want to see manifested in the realm that, yeah, you not yet see manifested, but it already exists. Because it really, you have to believe it till you can see it, because the physical manifestation, just like in Tarot, the Pentacles, is the slowest moving. Also, our physical body is the densiest, but you are not just a physical body. We are like a matryoshka. We have all these different bodies, you know, the mind body, emotional body, spiritual body, physical body. I'm sure I missed one. Etheric body, right? But the physical body is just the you know, is just the smallest aspect of you. We are so much bigger than we think we are, that we can see who we are. And that's the thing, you know, we are like now going to be tapping into who we really are, this divine being that right now is operating like me with my name and identities, and you with your names and identities and labels, but this is not who you are. This is just a chapter in a book of your soul, through which the soul grows and expands, through which the universe as whole and the source expands. So that's what I mean. To try to understand this fully, it's, I don't think, possible, because this is a topic that's so vast and it can go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into so many directions. Just like when people channel, and the more information they receive, the more questions they have, and the spirit will just go, how far you want to go? You know, how far you want to go. So that's it. So from the astrological perspective, when we look at the data of it, everything that's going to be taking place will be supporting us in this process. And also, of course, we'll have the eclipses. You know, we have the eclipses in Virgo, Pisces, and we actually have 2 lunations in Virgo next year. We have the new moon in Virgo in August on 0 degrees, another new moon in Virgo on 29 degrees, 28 degrees will be the eclipse. We have the full moon in Virgo now in March 14th, and also we'll have the Pisces eclipse in September. So this is all happening in conjunction with the nodes, North Node, South Node, you know, and actually I checked, and the only one that is in the new phase conjunction will be the final one in Virgo. Well, not final one, but the final one of 2025, which will be in Virgo. We'll still have some eclipses in 2026, right? Let me just see. 2026, there will be some more eclipses. Yes, there will be another eclipse in Virgo in 2026. So yeah, here we go. So actually 2026, we can see will be beautiful because we'll have all the elements present. There will be already eclipses in Leo, Pisces, Aquarius, and Virgo. And then we already shift into Capricorn. So I'm like, you know, it's just all going to get very unstructured. We break in the pattern. Things are going to completely change. And with this moon at the time of the nodes shifting, and moon is your identity, moon is the ruler of Mars, moon is our inner sense of safety and security, moon is squaring the nodes. At the time when the nodes are moving, moon is squaring the nodes, and it's pointing to this north node. It's pointing to the north node already at the time in Pisces, right? Because this is when they just ingressed. And this is the resolution node, which is in Pisces, which is again saying with the node, moon being in a Gemini, that, and this is Aquarian Can you breaking free from who you thought you were, which is so much smaller and so much more limited than who you really are. and you're going beyond. You're going to reconnect with your higher self, with the source, with the spirit, with everything, and co-create. But not like, okay, now this is gonna take over. I mean, it's been in charge all the time, because that's really who you are anyway. And yeah, and like I said, throughout the year, when everything is in Gemini, it's going to square the nodes pointing to the North Node, Venus, Mars, not Mars, but Venus, Mercury, and Sun. And then when we have the next Sagittarius season year from now in December, everything's going to square the nodes pointing to the South Node as the resolution node. So we'll have all these things to work with and through in 2025, especially because 2026 is again a change of energy over there with the 10-year and the Wheel of Fortune frequency. So this is a preparation, and it doesn't have to be scary. It's just about being in a flow with what makes you feel better, being in a flow with what is your preference. You don't have to know the final result, which I actually probably would recommend not to get attached to it, especially with all this retrograde energy that is present in this chart in particular. Don't get too attached thinking that you know, because thinking that we know anything is already limiting us, because it's putting this one label onto something that can be anything. So this is what I feel, that, especially with the South Node moving into Leo in 2026, we are continuously changing, growing, and evolving, and that is going to become something that we'll be happy about, not upset about, because we are no longer playing with the frequency of Cancer, Capricorn, and Piscean age, which is this like, oh, it needs to stay the same forever, and we'll be attached to this one label, and that makes us feel safe and secure, because there is a square between Aries and Cancer. It prevents growth, it prevents this new direction, it prevents us from trying different things. And that's why even with whatever we are experiencing at the moment, individually and collectively, which is not in no way easy, the soul is excited. And this is when it makes no sense to the human, because it's say like, hey, I'm just having the worst time of my life. What are you talking about? Or look at all the suffering in the world. The soul is excited because the soul is not limited by your label or by my or your way of thinking or belief system. The soul is saying, you are a divine being, you are a source, you are energy in action. You can do and be anyone you want. It's just we need to learn to be, to be in alignment and trust ourselves enough to know that it's possible. And this is the work for the next year. This is literally it. This is literally it. Is to recognize, heal, release all that is preventing us from becoming so disillusional to our own ego mind to think like, hey, what are you smoking? Like, what are you on? And it's literally like becoming so disillusional that you override the program of the matrix of the limiting logical mind that made you believe that you are limited in any way. So yeah, so if you have to fake it till you make it, like all of us, because the only way we're going to change this reality, whether it's your personal life or the collective experience, is to do something we haven't done before. And that sounds crazy to our brain. So, with the Jupiter retrograde, is saying like, okay, let's go in and let's see what are these thoughts, what are these beliefs that we are so attached to, that keep recreating the same patterns in our lives that we in most cases don't really enjoy anymore, but we don't know how to change it. So this is an opportunity with the South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces, to go beyond that, to tune in and to try to connect with what it is that makes you feel better. Even if it's not the final result, like, okay, maybe I'm not happy, but it's better than the other thing. And then by contrast, we will be edging closer and closer to where you want to go and what needs to change in order to get there. So it's a matter of preference. And if we really want the changes we say we do, then yes, it requires some work on our side. It's not going to just happen on its own. And that's that, Sun in Capricorn on Virgo Deacon. It will take time. The world is not going to change overnight. The more the time goes on and the more people do the work and the more people will align with these higher timelines and desire them to be manifested, the faster they will manifest. So right now, if you look at the state of the world and you think, I just want a world peace, your mind is straight away going to say it's not possible. And right now, it's probably not possible because humanity doesn't have haven't done enough healing, clearing in order for that to be everybody's truth. But the more we go ahead, the more it will become possible. And it will actually happen faster than we think, because with this energy moving into masculine sign, the energy will move very quickly. So it's just a matter of not resisting that which is presenting itself to you as the flow state, and the opportunity for becoming one in with, you know, what your soul is desiring. And this is different thing for different people. So that's why it's very important to let go of this Virgo in a low vibration by comparing yourself to someone else and seeking perfection that is somebody else's definition, or even your own, because perfection doesn't exist. That's Pisces. Perfection is the possibility for anything to be created. So yeah, you know, that's what I mean. Like, this is such a intangible energy that needs to be grounded and brought into physical manifestation. And it's going to take time, because we're working with something and dealing with something that we haven't done for thousands of years, 10,000s of years, but it's not something that we are familiar with.
Wow, Mila.
So you see, Lada, we're going into different direction. Like, yes, you know, people can look at like what's happening for me if I'm this rising and that rising. And I say to that, whatever you decide, my friend, whatever you decide, because energy is energy and you decide how you want to use it. So whether, you know, this is going to be happening in your first, second, third, whichever house, every house, every sign, every archetype has polarity. So you, as the conscious creator of reality that you are becoming, will decide, what do you want this energy to manifest like in your life? Do you want it to be good, or do you want to suffer through it? It's up to you.
Where for you, where is the south node going and the north node? Where are they going? Sorry?
In my chart?
Yes. How do you decide to manifest it?
I don't even know, because I don't check my chart. Oh, it's the 8th house. Yeah,
show
it's
people
the 8th
an
house.
example how they can decide, how they can set the intention. Do it for yourself.
Well, North Node for me is coming in my natal chart, because my progress chart is very different now. But in my natal chart, personally, it's Aquarius rising, so it's coming into the 2nd house from the 3rd. So the 3rd house, of course, it's all about this choice. You know, it's the Gemini. It's about which timeline you choose for yourself to be experiencing. And then the 2nd house gives it a form, because it's the Taurus, it's the roots. And it's also about how much you trust yourself to be able to bring it into physical manifestation. So yeah, so, you know, for people, when it's coming, North Node is coming into your 1st house, then you decide what is the sparkle of inspiration you want to be co-creating with the spirit. Because the 1st house is always Aries, is always about new direction. The 2nd house is the foundation, you know, North Node in a 2nd house is the foundation, what foundation you are bringing into the form that is going to support you in this onward journey that is going to have a deeper meaning. 3rd house, what choices are you going to make? How are you going to think and step into this unknown with the help of the spirit that is going to help you manifest exactly what you want, which is very different from what your brain will be telling you that is possible. And the 4th house is about that becoming someone different. 5th house, what are you creating? You know, what is your purpose? And your purpose is to become the most joyous, expansive, authentic expression of who you are that is unique to you. And the 6th house is all about the Virgo, the healing, you know, but in a sense, we are all doing exactly that. It's just showing different aspects of our life, you know, with the 6th house, the everyday reality, but it's also about how we interacting with the reality outside of us. Like, what is the service we are offering to the world through who we are becoming? So it's not necessarily just us doing something, it's us becoming something, and that creates a ripple effect for the collective. Because then other people can be inspired and motivated by it and say like, hey, what are you doing? You know, let me have some of that, and then you make it your own. You make it your own formula, because what works for one person might not work for another. But yeah, you know, I think it's beautiful. I think this energy is very, very. It's going to take us all the way back to the beginning.
Beautiful. Go quickly through the other houses as well for people.
Which one? Like a North Node in the 7th house, that's the Libra. But, you know, like this is Pisces, so obviously that would be Virgo rising people who probably all their life are focused on perfection and criticizing themselves and judging themselves, because that's probably what they experience in their personal life. This is all about healing that, you know, with the Pisces, seeing the meaning with regards to the relationships that you experience in your life to teach you how to love yourself. because with with this Pisces on the 7th house, most people struggle with boundaries because they are so empathetic and connected to everyone and everything. They don't know where they end and the other person begins. So it's about learning to love yourself enough to put the boundaries and choose you. You always have to choose you. With the 8th house, yeah, it's the self-empowerment, the metamorphosis, North Node in the 8th house, South Node in the Taurus, which is all about letting go of the attachment to comfort zone and stepping into the unknown, to find, well, not just unknown, stepping into the shadow aspects of yourself and accepting the totality of who you are is the wholeness, returning back to wholeness through which you will find your power. So not shy away from the aspects of yourself which you rejected because somebody around you told you it was unacceptable, but it's the process of healing and coming back to the wholeness. So it creates a stronger foundation in your life through loving yourself unconditionally. It all goes back to Taurus because that's the foundation. And then the 9th house, releasing the belief systems that are no longer in alignment. So you can go explore these new horizons that your soul wants to co-create with you, having this like straight away I can feel the optimism, like, okay, how far you want to go? You want to fly in the sky? You want to grow wings? What do you want to do? And is that South Node in Gemini, which will be, you need to override the program that tells you why that is not possible. Just like when you were a child and you looked at the book and there were unicorns and they told you, but this is just in a fairy tale, this doesn't actually exist. Of course it does. It's just in a different dimension. Just because that person that told you that doesn't work with that dimension doesn't mean that doesn't exist. You decide. North Node in the 9th house, you decide what is your truth. And then 10th house, the Pisces, co-creating with the spirit. Again, spirit being your boss, not your boss being your boss. Like that's the thing, you see, like this is what's changing, because it's like most of us are okay for our boss to for us to give our power and rely on institution, government, boss, as an employer and stuff, because it's someone you can see. But actually there is no
Many
difference.
people need that. Many people need that, and it's not good for everyone.
No, yes, but with the Pisces on midheaven, I don't know how much these people need it, but also with Pisces on midheaven, you have to do something that holds a meaning for you, otherwise the job is going to be dissolved. Yeah. So so it's like you need to co-create with that higher essence of yourself, even if you are in a normal job, but it has to hold a meaning for you, otherwise eventually just and also I feel like people like this, unless they do like something that really touches their soul, doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual as per definition of spiritual, because everything is spiritual, we are all spirit and everything is created from that place, but also it's that acceptance that, okay, you as a soul are growing and evolving, so what held meaning for you before is changing. So again, it's the non-attachment, like not being rigidly attached to, oh, this is what I did for my entire life and I put so much money and I don't know, training into it, and I have to stay this, I have to become, keep becoming this. But sometimes sometimes that is not the case anymore, especially if you have Uranus retrograde and Pluto retrograde in your chart. And yeah, with the 11th house, this is all about breaking free, liberation. But you see, with the Pisces, it's especially liberating and breaking free from the concept of the Pisces age, the sacrifice, that being the martyr, also the sacrifice for the all, you see, because like with the Pisces, especially when people have North Node in Pisces or in a 12th house, that could be the martyrdom tendency, that I need to save the world, I need to save it, because they have obviously, then South Node would have been a 6th house of Virgo, which is the same energy. And this is something which they very likely experienced throughout their childhood, being given too much responsibility or feeling that everything was their fault, being criticized, being put too much pressure, expectations onto, maybe with a good intention, it's not always bad, but then we feel this like, oh, I'm responsible for it. I carry the whole world on my shoulder, I carry my whole family on my shoulder. And this is, again, it's not in alignment with Aquarian age, because it is about equality. So this person, this someone else, is not going to become the strongest and most authentic expression of who they are if we keep enabling. Mm-hmm. So this is, again, breaking free from that sense that it's your responsibility and you need to help and save everyone, where actually no, the only person that you came here to save is yourself. But not from this, like, again, this is where we have to vary. It's not from the place of narcissism that I'm the only one that matters, but actually when people heal this, when we heal that, because it's all Leo, right? The narcissism, the egotistical tendencies, it is Leo in a low vibration. But once we heal that inner child, while we give to ourselves what we need, that we want everybody else to be happy. We want to give. We want to give more. When people have, when the cup is overflowing, they want to share that stuff that is coming out of that cup. So yeah, so with the Aquarian North Node, Aquarius North Node in Pisces, you're creating the new sense of meaning. Yeah, which is the Aquarius house. You're creating the new sense of meaning that is the best for all, but it's coming from your own individual expression by seeking and finding your own expression and being the example to all. Not doing it for them, but you do it for yourself, and then shining your light into the world and being that for the world by being who you are. That's literally it. That's literally what we all came here to do. Just become ourselves and encourage each other to just be free to be you. And then when there is no pressure for anybody else to be someone they are not, then all this resistance and the judgment and all that will eventually go. And yeah, and then, obviously is the 12th house. North Node in 12th house, with in the year of a hermit, you're probably going to be even more of a hermit. A lot of inner work, a lot of spiritual reconnection, or, maybe a lot of traveling. If you want to go into traditional concept, long distance traveling, which is still the same thing, soul searching. You're going to be seeking for yourself. You're going to be going into, all these spiritual adventures, whether it's in your little house or all over the world, but you're still seeking the same thing, reconnection with yourself.
So in essence, eat, pray, love.
Yeah. But you can see, like, even if you go through all the houses, it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. It's just showing up in different places.
Everything merges into Pisces anyway. All the signs.
At the end, everything merges at the Pisces, but at the end, everything takes you back to yourself, which is the Virgo. The spirit having a human experience. What did you come here to become? And only you know the answer to that. So you will experience polarity and contrast in the world outside of you to help you understand what it isn't, so you can come closer to the truth of what it is and be okay understanding that this is going to keep changing the more you keep changing and evolving. And you have to, because this is what the soul desires. Is Pluto, is the evolution of the soul, the continuous expansion. So it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much. I can feel this Pluto transiting your ascendant starting to ooze from you. Even though
in a 12th house until 2026. Like, yeah,
don't worry, it's in the sign already. You're feeling it.
I got it all piled up, Pluto hitting my ascendant 3 or 5 times, not sure. Pluto squaring my Pluto 5 times, between now and 2027. Pluto squaring my sun. Hey, I got it all loaded up on my plate, so I'm like, don't worry, we are all in this together, metamorphizing together.
You get pregnant, your life will metamorphose so quick. You get married, things that you never.
Well, let's see.
Thank you so much, Mila. It's always a joy to listen to you. It's channeling. I sometimes watching you, I see when you close your eyes and it's just coming from you.
Well, that's why, like I should have said at the beginning, obviously if people were bothered, they probably wouldn't be watching by now, but put it on the slower speed. Put it on
Whoever is like, I always speed up everything I listen to.
I do, because I have Mercury in Aries and Aquarius rising over here with the Jupiter in Aquarius and Uranus in Sag on the 10th house,
Oh, wow.
But it's literally, and people who channel, they know the energy is coming so quickly. You're trying to translate it into words, which doesn't always work.
Wait till Uranus and Neptune enter into Gemini and Aries. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I'll just switch completely to light language, because then people
exude.
Yeah, it's just like, do my language, because people will not get so bothered about how quickly I speak verbatim, then I just will be like just singing in light language and just like, hey, there is your high energy. But no, seriously, guys, like I'm sorry, but this is how I'm wired. This is my authentic expression. So
Absolutely. Use the technology. You don't have to apologize to anyone.
Use
This
the technology to work for you.
absolutely. Or as an excuse, sometimes I use it as excuse. I'm late, sorry. It's because this and this. Anyway, thank you so much. I
My
really
pleasure, Lada. Thank you. And I do hope that this gives people some hope for 2025,
that's
because I
how.
know there is a lot of doom and gloom. So
Oh,
you
if anything,
decide.
I see the opposite. If anything, I see
Yeah.
the opposite. Thank you, Mila. Have a
My pleasure.
new year.
Bye, everyone.